3, 2, 1.
So, shocking as it may sound, and blasphemous as it may seem, it's still true. Get ready. God doesn't care. Now, this doesn't mean God doesn't love you or me or anyone or anything, but because God is all love, right? And God is love unconditionally, without judgment, right? God's in everything. God's working through everything, as everything, with pure, unconditional love. That is for sure. The whole good versus evil thing, the positive versus negative thing, and love versus hate, they're just conditions, or as I like to say, flavors of the human experience. It's not a God thing. God doesn't hate and love. God just loves. God just doesn't care what we do, what we did, or what we have or haven't done. God doesn't even care what we will do. God leaves it up to us to decide of all of that. Like I've said many times before, God is not Santa Claus. It is our beliefs, along with our thoughts and feelings that we consistently have, that God works with, that God works through that spiritual law of cause and effect, which brings our life experiences to fruition. God uses its power to manifest those things which mirror our beliefs into our lives. If you haven't heard that before, well, if you've been here ever before, you've heard it many times in many different ways. And God does this for me and for you, for the Christian, the Jew, the Muslim, the atheist, for the liberal, the conservative, for all living things, human, animal, mineral, wherever. But the important thing to know is that God doesn't care about what you may want, desire, or require, because if you believe you can have it, you can and you will. Because the universe, God, will deliver it to you. You see, the universe is pure potentiality. The universe, God, always listens. The universe, God, always gives. And it does it with more love than you can ever even imagine. It's always there. You just have to wait sometimes. Wait to communicate, wait for it to show up. But it does if your belief is clear and strong. Like I said, God is all love. And yet, God doesn't care what you think or even do. But you should. I should. We all should. Are you still with me? Good. I want to make sure that you're not afraid. I'm not here to scare you or judge you. I am here to empower you. Every week, I am here to empower you, to remind you of your power. Give you a few tools here and there that you may not know about or may have forgotten about. Now, you don't require empowering, really, for you're already empowered by the power that made it all, that makes it all, God. And I know it's tough to hear sometimes that you're responsible for your experiences by your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, good and bad. But I want to urge you to remove any shame, blame, or guilt from your mind and heart about any crap that may have been or may be in your life. Because that is not what being responsible about the experiences in your life is about. This is not about going on some sort of witch hunt into your thoughts and beliefs to find out what brought crappy things into your life, although you can if you'd like. This is only about reminding you of that power within that can turn all that around, that you can use to respond to what's going on around you, good, bad, or indifferent, that you can respond with the greatest you. Now, I've told you this saying before that is said in New Thought: principle is not bound by precedent. Principle is not bound by precedent. Now, corny as this may sound, what that means is today's the first day of the rest of your life. This moment is the first moment of the rest of your life. So what are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it? You're going to live by the averages, the statistics of everyone else, or with the information, the intuition, the ideas, actions, and power that is your highest self, your highest intelligence, that divine within you. You still with me? Good. So remember, our 2022 theme is communing with your greatness. Communing with your greatness. What does that mean? It means it's an intentional, purposeful action of the mind and body. And this month, March, our theme is unify. We're going to unify. We're going to talk about the word unify. You know, the second step of treatment, spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, is unification. That recognition that we are one with whatever you want to call the universal power. It is a unification. It is an act of communing with the essence of your greatness. Ernest Holmes wrote in Living the Science of Mind. The Science of Mind is a book that Dr. Ernest Holmes wrote that a lot of this philosophy comes from. In that book, he wrote, God includes man. Spiritual man is a divine being as complete and perfect in essence as is God. But you don't have to call it God. Now, I've used that word a lot in these first few minutes, but you don't have to call it God when you're unifying with it, that power. You can call it whatever you want. Remember, God doesn't care what you call it. Nor does it care whether you call it the same name every time you unify with it or talk with it or talk about it. In the Science of Mind book itself, which is a huge book, there are over 161 different references to this energy that some call God. Here's a few, for example, and these are a few that I don't use very often, so think about this, that you can use this in describing that power, that essence. All-knowing mind, that's a good one. Blessed presence. Divine architect, I like that. Divine speaker. Great actor. Great companion of the soul. Indwelling spirit, that's an obvious one. Inner friend, I like that. Living spirit almighty. Maker of all things. Mighty one. Oversoul, which is a reference to Ralph Waldo Emerson's, one of his essays, one of his fabulous essays, in fact, Oversoul. Self-existent cause, Dr. Holmes uses that a lot. Ultimate stuff. In the Old and New Testament, there are over 950 different terms for God, like Yahweh, Eloah, Elohim, Eternal One, Adonai, El Roy. Never thought to call God Roy, but why not? I call it Phil sometimes. There's also words like Om. Om is another word for God. Om is the sound of the universe. Brahman, Great Spirit, used by our Native American friends. Mother, Father, God, you hear that a lot. Wakantanka, Gichi Manatu. In my workshop on spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer, one of our exercises is making a list of what others like to call the power and presence. Making a list of the words for God that we can use. Many people don't like that word God. It comes from a religious background that some people would rather forget. And I'm sure you've heard it before that the universal power is like a radio signal, right? And we have to tune into it, right? Tesla said it, actually. Einstein agreed and science proved it. Nikola Tesla, the great inventor and thinker, he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Einstein said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, he says. This is physics. What we're teaching is physics. What we're teaching is matching the energy of the experience that we have now decided to require into our lives. But you have to do all that with purpose and intention. There's this story I read last week about two buddies, Arnie and Peter, and they decide to go ice fishing. And they head out and they find a nice spot and they cut a hole in the ice and stick in their poles. And suddenly a loud voice booms from above, "There are no fish here." And Arnie and Peter look around and they look at each other and they look up and they don't see anyone. And Peter says, "Oh, well, I suppose we better move on then." And they get up and they find another spot on the ice and cut a hole again and they stick their poles in there again with great hopes of fresh walleye fish. And once again, the voice booms from above, "There are no fish here." Again, they look around, they look at each other, look up and down. Again, they don't see anyone. And Artie says again, "Well, I guess we best find another spot." So again, they gather up their equipment and they choose another promising spot on the ice, cut a hole, stick in their poles, and wait. And of course, once again, the loud voice booms from above, "There are no fish here." And it kind of echoes even. They look around again. They look at each other, a little suspicious. Then they look up, seeing no one. But then Peter calls out, "God in heaven, is that you?" And the voice responds, "No, this is the skating rink manager. There are no fish here." I know I spent last month telling you God is within and that the divine spirit experiences life through us, as us, with us, for us. But when we intentionally connect, commune, and communicate, and not just hang out in this big quantum energy field of waves and particles with everyone else, we can consciously hone our vibration, our frequency, and unify with that force, with that energy. And in that unity, have a conversation. And through that conversation, create a reality. My friends, God is an energy that is constantly broadcasting from everywhere, all around us. It's not just a big booming voice like you read about or like was illustrated in that story. We're the transistor radio, so to speak, designed to tune into it, into that divine presence, and unifying ourselves with its signal, which has the call letters, our best self. You may have been asking after the last couple of talks, wait, who's out there? What's out there? Well, the answer is simple. The same thing that's in you. The divine presence, the divine intelligence, divine love. It is you, my friends, the universal you, the creation called you. The energy of love, light, power, beauty, creativity, and wisdom called you. The you that is the divine vibration. It is you and you it. So dial in, sit a while, chat, and explore your greatness, because it is there within you, waiting for you, calling for you. Pick up and take the call. Thank you so much. Namaste.